So this time around we want to add a delete button right here that allows us to delete the reservation. So let's update the HTML first and just add the button, and then we'll add the necessary JavaScript and handlers in a moment. Now, as I said before, I don't want the delete button to appear here. I want it to be way over here. And I'll make it red so it's easy to see, but I want to make sure that it's far enough away that people don't accidentally click on that and delete a reservation just without reading the dialog box, which in my experience happens far too frequently. So that's not too hard. Bootstrap gives us some nice ways to do it. So first of all, let's put the button in there. And I'm just going to duplicate that one and give myself some space. And I'll give it the class of danger, button danger, which makes it red. And I'll have it call a function delete res, which doesn't exist yet. And we'll call this delete. And down here, I'll just create an empty function for now called function delete res. And it will take an ID and we'll leave it empty. So let's see how that looks. So there, it is in the wrong spot. I don't want it there. I want it over here. And fortunately, we can do that pretty easily in Bootstrap. We have these buttons from here saved down to mark as processed. I want those to be on the left. So I'm going to wrap them in a div with the class of float left. And I'll put the closing div down here. And as you might have guessed already, I'll give this one the div of class float right. And move its div down, closing div tag down to here. Format the whole thing. So what that does is everything inside this div will float to the left of the screen, and everything in this div will float to the right of the screen. And anytime you're floating things in Bootstrap, and this is a built-in function that's part of the Bootstrap framework, it's always good practice. In fact, it's almost essential that you put this in. Div class equals clearfix. And that makes sure that everything from this point on in the page will render properly. If you leave this out, things will look strange. So let's give this a save and reload this page. And now that button is where I want it. Okay, so what am I going to do in this button? Well, the reality is I'm doing almost exactly the same thing I'm doing here in process reservation. I'm just calling a different URL, which I will call delete reservation. Okay, so we should be able to save this, reload this, and this should work. And it does. Okay, and if I click OK, it should take me to a page not found. And it does. So let's go set up the roots and the handlers. I'll do the handler first. So I'm in my handlers.go file, and I'm just going to copy this entire function, paste it, and rename it. Admin process reservation becomes admin delete reservation. And we'll copy this and fix the comment, and we'll just change this to say deletes a reservation. And all we have to do is change the message. Reservation marked as process becomes reservation deleted, and call the correct database function. And it's as simple as delete reservation with just ID as a parameter. And now we set up the root. So let's go back to our roots file and duplicate this one, have it call admin delete reservation, and have it match this root, delete reservation. And that should be it. So let's try this. Let's go back to our terminal, stop the application, start the application, make sure it compiles, and it does. And let's go reload this page just to make sure everything's current. And I've got John Smith reservation ID 1, and I'm going to delete that reservation. And it's deleted. And John Smith, if I go to all reservations and sort by ID, it is gone. So that works exactly the way that we want it to. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, you deleted this reservation. What about the item restrictions? What about the room restrictions? Well, if you look in the database, and I'll go in here and look at room restrictions and refresh this page, you will see that reservation ID 1 doesn't appear here anywhere. And that's because we have a foreign key relationship that says on delete cascade. So on the room restrictions table, or the reservations table, that's it, the reservations table, there's a foreign key between that and the column reservation underscore ID in room restrictions. And that foreign key says on update or on delete cascade. So when you delete the reservation, the restrictions are deleted without you having to do anything else. And that's one of the great advantages of a foreign key relationship. Okay, so we're getting closer. The next step is arguably the most difficult one we're going to do, and that is displaying the reservation calendar. And what I want to have happen on this page, right now it's just dummy content, is I want to display the current month and year. Then I want to have one row for each of the rooms that we have. So there'll be 2 rows. And those rows will consist of checkboxes all the way across, where I can check a box and click Save to close a room or block a room for a given date or date range. And actual reservations will just show up with some indication that this is a reservation, and clicking on it should take me to the page for that reservation. And then I want to be able to move back and forth between months with buttons, maybe one over here and one over here, that will allow me to go to a specific month easily. And we'll take care of that in the next few lectures.